Hey everybody, this is Jim at sp500chart.com. It's about 4:45 on Sunday afternoon. Well, with the time change, soon to be Sunday evening here on the 1st of November, 2020. Before we take a look at the chart, I need to remind you, as always, the website and the video are for educational purposes only. Nothing stated at the site or in the video is intended to be used as investment advice. I can draw lines on charts, but you have to draw your own conclusions from your own research and make investment decisions that are suitable for your personal financial situation. And I am not a licensed financial professional. I'm just a guy who draws lines on charts. So let's see how the week went, as if you don't already know, but we'll talk about it right now. Well, this is the chart we were looking at basically coming into last week's weekly review. And I gotta say it again, if I saw this chart 100 times, I would think the wrong thing 100 times. And that is, it appeared as if we had broken out from an inverted head and shoulders pattern, and we were coming back to back test the neckline. This line was not on the chart. Instead, we were looking at what appeared to be a pretty basic descending channel to back test our neckline. But then, this past week, all of that fell apart as this was the actual week as it unfolded. Everything about this chart said last week should have been up. But last week was anything but up. And it looks like there's more and more fear being generated in the markets with each passing day. And I think that is probably due to jitters over the elections. The good news is, well, dare I say it, we have the election on Tuesday. I was going to say the good news is we'll know on Tuesday who the next president of the United States will be, who will control Congress, both chambers of Congress. But the fact of the matter is, we probably won't, unless the margins are simply too large for anyone to really to be able to dispute. So, that said, and I'm not going to make a prediction on who's going to win, I think the fact that the polls are tightening gives you some indication. And, you know, I'm sort of a conspiratorialist in a few ways. And I rather suspect that the polls in the United States political scene early on are more for influence than they are for knowledge. So I think all of those huge spreads saying that Joe Biden was just going to walk away with this, that's baloney, that's garbage. In much the same way it was when the polls were saying Hillary Clinton was going to walk away with the presidency 4 years ago. The polls were designed to bolster confidence in one and to create fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the other. And if you live in the United States right now, and I assume most of you do, and you think that the average media outlet is journalistic and objective, I want to challenge you on believing that. Just ask yourself this. If one of Donald Trump's sons had left his laptop in a repair shop and never claimed it, and it had photographs of one of Donald Trump's sons cavorting with prostitutes, smoking crack or whatever it was he was smoking, using drugs, images of him doing that. And if that laptop also proved that his father did know about his overseas shady dealings, do you think MSNBC, ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN would have a media blackout keeping that completely secret? No way. And if you watch ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, CNN, you might not even know there's a laptop. You might think, and all of those people are saying that this is Russia collusion again. It absolutely is not. So anyway, all of that to say, and I told you I wasn't going to get political, and then I immediately went and got political. All of that to say the media will lie to you in a heartbeat in order to further whatever agenda they might have. The news people are no longer reporters, they are influencers. They're no better than people with Twitter accounts, people with Instagram accounts, and whatever else. They are now influencers, not news reporters. So anyway, wheels came off, and it looks like more and more fear here. And of course, COVID-19, that issue kicked up again this week. Great Britain, or the UK, is going into, I believe, a 4-week shutdown. And, so, all of this stuff's coming back. I will say this, once we know who the next president is, that will no longer be creating fear. And I believe once we know who the next president is, COVID-19 will not be front page and center as it has been leading up into the election. Once the last vote is cast, there is no need, nor is there any motivation to blame someone for COVID-19. By the way, trivia question, you know that President Trump shut down travel from China into the United States earlier this year. And do you know how many known confirmed COVID-19 cases were in the United States when he took that action? The answer is 5. Not 500, not 50, not 5,000, 5. And people who say that he was not decisive in any way whatsoever obviously were not following things. Did everything work out right? Absolutely not. The CDC botched many things. We were caught flat-footed on national stockpiles. We were caught flat-footed a bit on ventilators, though we never ran out. And we were caught flat-footed definitely on antiquated bureaucratic obstacles that led to testing issues early on. Okay, I'm done. I swear I'm done. As a matter of fact, I may even just put a message on the video here today that says you can start listening if you're interested in stocks at at about 7 minutes. So anyway, what happened? Well, we got underneath this neckline in a big way, and I apologize. The storm, was it Zeta, came through Georgia on Thursday, and I was without power for about 14 hours, and then I was without internet for about 30 hours. So I couldn't do a video for you on Thursday. I was able to get on my phone and use it as a hotspot just to say so, but there was no way for me to do the video because I didn't have access to this chart, and I have no access to any of this stuff on my phone. So anyway, as we're looking at things, it looks like a descending megaphone pattern. It also looks like we are testing the levels that were at the inverted head now in this, what I don't think is any longer a reliable pattern. However, we are, at least for now, we are not under the neckline that is extended from the really big inverted head and shoulders pattern that we thought we were looking at prior to COVID. Remember, we saw this pattern here, and that is the extended neckline right there. So could that give us a boost? I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. So what are the dangers? Well, I'll tell you what I think the main danger is, and that is the possibility of the last 3 months or so being a double top. That said, that means we don't really want to get lower than the inverted head in that inverted head and shoulders pattern. Because if we do, one could very easily make the case, as I zoom in now, I think I can see it on the hourly chart, one could make the case that getting underneath this yellow line right here would initiate a target of about 2,900. So that certainly is something we need to keep an eye on, this yellow line. Remember, we have this rising orange wedge, and I told you that that really wants to bring us down to about 3,000. So if we come down to 3,000, I suspect that this double top may come into play and push us down even further, like I said, down to about 2,900 or so. It's also possible that what we're seeing could also be a bullish development. Okay, the bearish is double top. The potentially bullish indication is sort of a double dip consolidation. And we've seen these before as well. By the way, it is interesting to note that even though this inverted head and shoulders pattern looked like it wanted to push us up over 3,600, it is interesting to note that the apex of this rising wedge, this orange wedge back here, is almost exactly where we topped out early 3 weeks ago. That's interesting. And I think I pointed that out at the time. But remember, at that time, we thought we were dealing with a pattern back here where we would test the neckline and then move back up. So it made sense all along to see some resistance there, but really wasn't expecting to see as much as we got this past week. So I think we got a lot of nervous investors. I think we have people nervous from the elections, people nervous from COVID-19, and all of that to say, even if this is a descending broadening pattern, twice this week, early on Thursday and early on Friday, we hit this line of support. And we have yet to hit the line of resistance that is a good 100, almost 120 points higher than where we are right now. So I think we could start this week off with a rally. And if we get up to this level, either on Monday or Tuesday, then look for some gap resistance around 33.88. That would not be the least bit surprising. So I think if you can ignore, if you're a Democrat, please just ignore my rantings here. But if you are, I do want to ask you to do this for me, if you will. Be objective. If I said something and you don't disagree with it, try not to be emotional about it. Try to be intellectual about it. Be objective. Say, well, is this true? Not, I don't want that to be true, and don't tell me that. It can't be true. Look, we all have worldviews, and our worldviews begin with very basic building blocks of our thought processes. Some people might call these first principles. They're the real foundation upon which our thoughts and our worldview are based. And I don't think that people who are liberal politically are necessarily evil. I think some are, but some conservatives are evil too. But I will say this. I think that where someone who is politically liberal and someone who is politically conservative, I think the main difference is they're just working from a different starting point. Their worldview is different at the outset. That's why we see often generational shifts in political tone. So the important thing is try to be objective. We try to be objective with the chart. Try to be objective with everything. Try to accept if there's a fact, take hold of it. Say that's a fact. I can't get around that fact. Don't run from it. So anyway, that said, look, I'll shut up and say thank you for taking time out of your week to watch this video. And thanks for your very kind support, even if you disagree with me on some issues. I love you just the same. So be good. Take care. And vote.